Welcome to another episode of the Love and Reality Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valera. On today's episode, we are going to continue to break down this week's episodes of the Ultimatum Queer Love. I'm going to recap episodes 7 and 8 as we prepare for the final episodes next week, episode 9 and 10. I will be splitting those up into 2 episodes. Episode 9 is the big reveal of who is going to get back together, who's going to stay together, who's getting engaged, who's breaking up. There's so much to talk about next week. I'm excited. And then episode 10 is the reunion. Oh, I don't know if you guys are ready. I have seen both of those things, and I can promise you, it's only getting crazier as we go on and on. All right, folks, episode 7 kicks off with Mal making breakfast for Yoli, noticing she's been cleaning up around the house and asking Mal if it's sustainable, if this is something that she can continue to do outside of this bubble, right? You have all of these relationships right now that maybe are doing good for the camera. Maybe they're doing the things that their significant other or partner wants them to do based on maybe just we're in this bubble, we're on TV, or maybe it's based on even in Mal's scenario, even in some of the other situations. Are you doing these things because you love me, or are you afraid of losing me? But Yoli said she is struggling to get that romantic vibe back with her, and Mal tells her she is here to leave with her. We have 10 days, count 10 days until the ultimatum. Ozzy and Sam, Ozzy made dinner for Sam. She says she's getting back on track to be that house husband. They begin to talk about the gender roles of the relationship, and Ozzy explains how she's kind of struggle with the idea of making less money, and she's conditioned on those traditional views, but in her role in a partnership doesn't have to fit in that bubble anymore. And I love that, because that bubble isn't a thing, right? If your significant other makes more money than you, who cares? Like, we're all bringing the same dollars and cents to the table, right? So at the end of the day, if this person's making 100,000, this person's making 50,000, you live in the same house, you're married, you're engaged, you're making 150,000. Not you're making 100, I'm making 50. No, we're making 150 and we're bringing it to the table. So that being said, Sam jokes she'd rather hire someone, and they both joke about cleaning up around the house and stuff like that. Lexi and Ray, we have 9 days now. Lexi and Ray are talking about their relationship now. Ray says she has been her person for 3 years and she had loved her a lot, and breaks down. I still struggle with Lexi on this entire show, right? Because the relationship she had with Mal was very deep and profound, to the point where she was questioning who she was going to leave the show with. But now, obviously, she's pushed on Ray, right? And giving this hard time to Ray. But yet Vanessa is taking all this blowback for what her and Ray did. I just don't understand why Lexi has not faced the music here at all about what she did with Mal. Wow. On the flip side of that, Lexi said they fought the other night, but she looked at her the other night and she realized that she still loved her. Ray is appreciative of the flexibility that Lexi has given her. Lexi tells her that she fits into her life, in their life, and really like their life together. So it looks like they're starting to bounce back from things on the show. Vanessa and Xander are talking. Xander's making food, and it said it's nice to date her again and get to kind of know Vanessa 2.0. I do think that people watching this aren't giving Vanessa enough credit for the growth that I think I've seen from her, the adaptation of understanding that, this bubble that we're living in, or maybe she needed to, I do have slight concerns of what that love looks like. Maybe it's because I'm on the verge of losing you type of thing that we mentioned with in this situation. But at the same time, like, I really do see some growth from the person that started on the show to what we're seeing now. There's definitely growth from that Vanessa, aka 2.0. Xander asked her what her expectation of marriage looks like, but Vanessa said she isn't sure, but is excited to open the door to that future. I thought Xander was out the door, like completely out the door. And even that meeting with her and Yoli, like that at the couples retreat there where they all had lunch together, like these two were talking about like, you know what I mean? I want to leave with you, whatever. Things get weird when Xander apologized for not being present. Vanessa said it's been hard. Xander asked for her to trust her to figure out the situation. And of course, Vanessa says yes. Mildred and Tiff, these two are weird. I feel like with Mildred and Tiff, you have two combative people that are that struggle with that communication. Mildred asks her when she feels like she's talking all the time. Tiff says she's interrupting her all the time. Tiff says she's been trying to talk, but Mildred keeps over talking her over and over again. Mildred blames it on being a Latina. Tiff said it respect isn't a race, and what the fuck is going on with Mildred? They go back and forth. Tiff said she can talk however she wants, whenever she wants to, and you can find someone else. Tiff said she is Dunza. The thing about it is the communication situation with Mildred and Tiff. It's very two bulls going at each other's throat constantly over and over again. And the thing about it is Mildred sure needs to give a little bit of space to Tiff and maybe needs to be so less vocal about how she, maybe so strong about those feelings. But at the same time, Tiff you understand the bull that you're playing with. So either you get in the ring and you play, or you get out the door. You know what I mean? Mal and Yoli are back together again. These two are playing at the pool, and then these two get it on together. Again, kind of shocked by this one because Mal was all over Lexi again. Mal not taking any slack for what she's done with Lexi in this scenario. Yoli getting a beating, Vanessa getting a beating, but yet we're not seeing Mal or Lexi speak about their relationship and what they did in that time frame. Sam is meeting Ozzy's brother for the first time. They talk marriage and their parents. Sam talks about her family as open and honest, but Ozzy hasn't even told her family about her sexual orientation due to the fear of that rejection. Ozzy said that this is the first time she's thinking about getting married and willing to open that door to introduce her to her family. Again, great stuff. I love what they're doing here. And it's strong. And her brother asks if she will leave Ozzy if they don't get engaged. She says yes. She will leave. She's done. The engagement, it's a wrap. If there's no commitment there's no engagement, Sam's out the door, which obviously, that's the point of the show, right? You know what I mean? Oh. Mildred and Tiff back to being lovey-dovey. They fight and they mess with the bull. You get the horn type of scenario. And then Tiff feels like she keeps throwing her away. For the first time, Mildred hasn't spoken a single word and allowed Tiff to fulfill sentences out of her mouth. I do think that this was progress. I do think, again, Mildred, I think, is trying to understand that maybe she needs to take a step back sometimes and listen before speaking. You know what I mean? And I do think that's growth. You know what I mean? It's progress, in my opinion, to understand where you're at in your situation of your relationship. She fears that she will throw her out over one fight. Mildred takes some responsibility for her actions, again, growth, and how Tiff has always been there and always showed up for her. It means so much to her. Tiff said she hopes it's not too late, and Mildred said she can show her every day. Mal and Yoli meet with Tiff and Mildred. Then here comes Lex and Ray, and then the rest of the crew. This should be a good time. This is the drama we are looking for. Vanessa has arrived. Apparently, messaged Mal that her and Xander and Yoli are communicating. Hilarious. Again, look, could Vanessa be seen as somebody that's being petty with this? Sure. But could Vanessa also want to have other people speak for their actions on the show? Absolutely as well. Mal, Vanessa, Xander, and Yoli all pull each other aside. Mal asked why Vanessa brought up why she DM. She confronted her. Vanessa said she just wanted to start shit. While Vanessa brought up Yoli wanted a selfie from Xander, which Mal was shocked by. Things are weird. Mal was pissed. Vanessa asked the party if they're ready to answer the big question, and everybody leaves. Again, making Vanessa this big bad wolf and not wanting to be around her is just absurd to me. Like, you're all there, you all played a part, you all did your thing. Take some ownership for your accountability. Yoli pulls Xander aside. They give each other a massive hug. Xander mentioned she thinks about her all the time. She said she would hate to see it end with this experience. They're holding hands. Yoli breaks down. Xander says she's thinking about the potential between the two of them. Xander says she's beautiful. These two are like massively flirting right in front of Vanessa and Mal and the rest of the group. It's incredible. Lexi asked Mal how things are, and she said it's been rough. Lexi is mad. Ray is actively avoiding her. Ray actively avoiding Vanessa. Yoli asks to talk to Mildred, but goes over and hugs Xander and tells her that she misses her. Very sweet. And tells her that she loves her, and Mildred points out that she sees it. Mal steps in. Mildred going over there and hugging Xander and talking to Yoli and Vanessa, like she sees what we see between these two. So it's definitely interesting to see somebody else call that out. That's there. Mal steps in. Yoli wants to go back to Mildred and Alexander, but doesn't want Mal to be around if that's okay with her. Now, the thing about it is Mal asks if it's a trust thing, and she says yes, to go for it. I think the situation here that I really liked was the fact that Mal gave her that space. She kind of gave her that trust, and maybe she felt comfortable, and maybe the conversations that they were having, she felt comfortable with giving her that space. Maybe she was thinking that, Yoli was trying to end things with Alexander. But as we see Alexander and Yoli talking, Alexander tells her how she feels. Yoli says she is trying to figure it out, but Alexander says, let's do this thing. And Yoli says, okay. Like, their chemistry is insane. They are literally like the perfect match when you watch them together. I love it. Yoli is struggling with the balance of Mal and her. Alexander said she doesn't want to feel like the second pick. They hug. Yoli says her heart and her mind are in two different places, and if Mal and her were further apart, she would marry Alexander. She says she's stuck. Insane. Tiff brings up marriage. Alexander and Mal are there. Mal brings up Yoli, and no disrespect, and said she's always been there for Yoli. Mal asked if she can give her that now. Alexander said she isn't sure. Mal then asked to choose right now. She said herself, it's crazy, like how this all came together. You have Mal, Alexander, Vanessa, and freaking A, Mal, Vanessa, Alexander, and Yoli together, like all together. Mal is putting Alexander on the spot, asking her if she can pick Alexander. Somebody pick her, right? Or Alexander, if she can pick Yoli right now. And I'll tell you what, when Mal puts her feet to the fire and asks her who she chooses right now, and Alexander says herself, that's like top tier response on any reality TV show ever, like ever. It blew my mind. And I'm again struggling here with Mal. She was pretty much all in with Lexi, right? We all remember that. Lexi and Ray are talking. Lexi asked why she didn't set the boundary with Vanessa. She said it was simple to choose her, and she didn't. Lexi is being insane towards Ray again. It's crazy to me. Ray says all she can focus on is the negatives. And again, Lexi said, don't be with me then. She said she hates Vanessa because she told her what she did with her hands. Ray said she is more consumed with Vanessa than her own relationship, and she isn't wrong. Again, somebody please make like a montage of pictures and videos and of all these things of Vanessa, or of Lexi and Mal together. Please, 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 please. Mal and Yoli said she wants to get it straight. Mal said she's unsure about Alexander because she knows that because she is unsure about them. Yoli says she's forced the issue and it's not fair. Mal said you can't have both of us. She said the romance isn't here with her. Mal said she can commit to her, and at what point does she neglect herself? Yoli said she's waited for 3 years and finally has showed up after 2 weeks. Again, something that's not pictured here, I've talked about with the relationships of the people that have made the ultimatum. These individuals finally, quote unquote, show up for these people, and they don't know how to really react. And especially in Yoli's scenario, Alexander was there giving her what she needed, even if it was in this bubble of 3 weeks. Alexander gave Yoli more in 3 weeks of showing her and showing up and showing the things and talking about the future than Mal did in 3 years. That's the thing that really, like, the dynamic here that I think Yoli's trying to get across, and it's truthful. You know what I mean? Like, Mal asked Alexander, is her hell yes? And she said, it's not as cloudy. Yoli asked for a hug, and she said no. She said she is dying for her and to give her a break. Mal said she is done with all of this. Alexander and Vanessa said she was bummed out that Ray wouldn't talk to her. Vanessa brings up that she saw that with Yoli a lot tonight. Alexander says she isn't ready to choose. Vanessa is wild and says, you hurt me a lot, but I love you. Alexander just seems like someone that doesn't want to be there. I swear she wants Yoli. We all believe that, period. Vanessa says she will always love her and hopes to leave here with her. These two proceed to get it on. Good for them. Episode 8 kicks off, folks. We are talking now. Mildred and Tiff are at the beach with their dogs. Mildred has a kid. Unless I missed it, I had no clue. Like, I did not know she had a kid. And I feel bad because I feel like if it was mentioned, I feel like I didn't hear that. But like, this is the first time this has really been brought up, in my opinion. But she did say her son is special needs, and he's a 16-year-old, and um, being special needs, she might have to live with them for quite a while, if not forever, because he needs that constant attention. So obviously, that is a big thing that Tiff has to overcome with Mildred, and understanding that this son is going to be in her life forever. How's she going to be able to handle that? Will she be able to handle the constant attention that her son may require? And Mildred, being a single mom, is very like honest about these things, which I appreciate it. 4 days until the ultimatum, Charmaine is meeting with Ozzy and Sam. Sam said she learned to speak up during her trial marriage. Sam brings up Ozzy doesn't communicate. This leads to a big fight. Ozzy shuts down and leaves. Charmaine talks to Ozzy. Ozzy explains her feelings. She said she doesn't feel Sam isn't accepting of her truth. And it takes her back to her childhood, where everything felt like it was her fault and everything was told it was her fault. She's freaking out. I give Ozzy credit here for showing this vulnerability side and how honest a portrayal of this breakdown really is. I do think that allowing her to get out of this space when she leaves was beautiful, because I didn't need to see more of Ozzy breaking down and Sam and Ozzy going at it. Sam goes out to talk. Obviously, Ozzy's gone. So that was nice to see that kind of expedite out the way. Lexi and Ray are talking. Ray is struggling to communicate with Lexi since coming back. She said she has always feel like she's in defense. Lexi tries to says she hasn't been great. Lexi said she wants a marriage, no games whatsoever. Whatever, Lexi, I don't care about you. I don't care. That's mean, maybe, but Lexi, I'm not here for it. Ozzy breaks down what happened to her today in the anger and pain, saying how she felt like a kid. She starts to cry. Sam says they need to communicate together. Ozzy said she wants to get there, but doesn't feel safe yet. Things get twisted and fast, and Ozzy flips out. Ozzy says she is done and walked away. These two are so wildly hot and cold. It's incredibly crazy. Ozzy took her mic off, and then randomly she left, and then randomly we see her back in bed with Sam. 3 days left. Vanessa and Xander meet with Vanessa's dad. Vanessa talks learning things and wanting marriage now. Xander brings up Yoli and how easy it was for her to fall in love, and all things have been turned around. Vanessa's dad says one of the most honest things, I think, between her and Lexi's dad. I'm like a big fan of the dads in this show this year, but he brings up that he feels Vanessa wants to marry Xander because she's on the verge of losing her. Hello. He said that Xander processed this experiment the right way, and then Vanessa said that her heart is broken. Alicia, Mal's friend, is here with them. Yoli said she fell in love with Xander. Alicia said she's shocked, doesn't know what to say. Asked Mal how she felt. Mal said she felt bamboozled. The way they put Yoli to the fire here, another thing I didn't love. I didn't love this. I didn't love this at all. Alicia and Mal kind of gang up on Yoli, and I didn't really love that. Yoli said she sees trouble in the future with Mal. Yao brings up the inconsistencies with Mal. Mal brings up being a good parent. And of course, Yoli said that's not the same thing. Yoli said she isn't ready. Let me be with someone that is ready. Alicia brings up Xander and how sure she is. Yoli said she had talked finances about pregnancy. Mal freaks out because she didn't know that they had those in-depth of conversations. Yoli walks out after more confrontation, and I don't blame her. Again, same way I felt about Ozzy leaving earlier, I feel the same way about Yoli. Good for her, walking out, getting out of that mess. I'm team Yoli. Mal asked if she would propose to Yoli. Would Alicia approve? And she says, I am for what's best for Mal, which I do appreciate that, but I didn't love them ganging up on her. Final night before the ultimatum, Tiff and Mildred stay in and talk about life. Tiff says she's thinking about marriage now. Mildred said she doesn't love her first marriage, and that scares Tiff, but I get that. You can sit here and say the things that you want to. She loved her and looked back. she didn't. Tiff has an issue with Mildred saying she can look back on her first marriage and say she didn't love that person, which Tiff was really like caught up on, which is kind of confusing. I can understand that. Been there, done that. I understand that. Mildred said she won't allow her to mix her past with now. Tiff is all over the place, and I'm not a fan. Mildred said she is solid and real, and if she isn't, or believe that maybe she shouldn't get married. Ozzy mentions being embarrassed for her to meet her family because of how close-minded they are. Sam said they shouldn't be around people that don't believe in them. Ozzy said she would like to experience growing up in a happy home. Again, Sam's statement here was beautiful. Okay, it doesn't matter what your relationship looks like. If you're in love, the person that you're with, your family should be accepting of the person that you love, right? 100,000% should be there for you and your significant other. Mal and Yoli. Yoli said she would like their last night to be peaceful and full of love. Mal said that and Mal, they're talking back and forth. Yal asked how their trial marriage has been, and she said it's been rocky. She said she is home, and sometimes home isn't perfect. I actually love that quote. Mal said this could be the last night that she spends with Yoli forever. She spoke to Yoli's parents for their blessing to propose to her. Yoli said she stood up and honored her with her family was something that she's wanted since they started this process. Mal said she likes doing life with her. Could they get back together? Could they be getting engaged? Who knows? Stay tuned, right? Lexi and Ray cheers the last date night as girlfriends. Ray said she feels the pressure with her back against the wall. So many factors that block things. Lexi said she can talk about Vanessa and things get weird. Lexi said she's going to make the right decision for her, and Ray will do the same. I don't like Lexi. She is me too, Ray. Xander and Vanessa. Vanessa said she didn't know how to love until we were there and realized how much love she could have for someone. She hates that they never gave all the love she had throughout that entire time of their relationship. Xander said she sees a change and wouldn't have stayed if she didn't. I love that. Recognizing Vanessa has made some changes in this process. Final morning, Mal said she hasn't given up, but doesn't know what to say at this moment. It is ultimatum day. Yoli said she's confused. She could leave engaged with Mal. She could leave with Xander, or she could leave alone. Mal said she's feeling better coming in here than she didn't. Yoli talks highs and lows of her and Mal and what she wants from Xander. She is certain from the perspectives and knowing what it would look like from both sides. Like that to me is like, what is going on? You know what I mean? Yoli has arrived. Mal isn't here. Mal's there. Mal says she looks good. Mal asked to get close. Mal asked to get closer. Yoli said she doesn't know. Mal said the hardest thing she's ever had to do. She's done chasing her and feels like she deserves the world. Yoli is quiet, and she said she hears her, believes her, but I'm still in love with someone else. Mal said she knew that. She wrote her some sweet words, blah, 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 blah. She tells her 3 weeks into dating her that it's always been you. If not now, I promise to come looking for you in another life, and proposes to her. And end scene. Man, they really know how to draw up the drama to make us watch next week. But folks, I need to hear your thoughts. What did you think of this week's 4 episodes of The Ultimatum as we head into the predictions of what is ahead? Who do you think is going to stay together? Yoli, Mal, are they going to get married or get engaged? Mildred, Tiffany, what's going to go on with those two bulls? Sam, Ozzy, will the stubbornness go away? Xander, Vanessa, Xander, Yoli, like, Ray, Lexi, who cares? But everything that's going to go down, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I want to say this, and I'll say this right now. I've had fun covering this season, and folks, you are in for a treat with episode 9 and 10. The reunion, it's a hot one. It's a hot one for sure. Can't wait to dissect that on next week's podcast. Make sure to subscribe to wherever you're listening to this. YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Please, 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 please. Greatly appreciate all the love and support for this podcast. Everybody that's listening, I'm really, really excited about that. Next week, we have the last 2 episodes. Hopefully, we can peek into interviewing some of the individuals from The Ultimatum. I'm hoping to reel some of those in over the next couple of weeks. We'll be covering Temptation Island in a few short weeks. I'm excited about that as well. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of the Love and Reality Podcast. I will talk to you guys next week.